Some may know me as Mitchell Holmes III. I'm an instructor at City College of New York. I also worked at companies like Google and Atlantic Records and the New York Times. And I'm just going to share with you 10 tips to build your self-esteem. Right now, with this bad economy and the onslaught of negative TV shows that are on, I think a lot of people right now are struggling with self-esteem issues. So I'm just going to share 10 quick tips that I share with my class on how to improve their self-esteem or how to build their self-esteem. Tip number 1, stop comparing yourself to other people. That's one of the fastest ways to kill or lower your self-esteem, is to look at what someone else has accomplished within their time frame against yours, because we all can't run the same race. We all learn at different speeds. And this person's luck may be this way today. For instance, you may have a child actor who at the age of 16 is successful and rich, and they may have a person that in their same age group that may feel like a failure against them, but then 20 years later this child star is broke, and then suddenly now in their 30s this other person, now their career takes off financially. So anyone's luck can change tomorrow within a blink of an eye. So don't compare yourself to other people. Not to mention, we have different religions, we have different heights, different races, so what may work well for someone else may not work well for you, and vice versa. Tip number 2, stop talking down to yourself or putting yourself down. Use self-appreciation. Congratulate and reward yourself on every victory you achieve, either big or small. Sometimes we are too hard on ourselves. We put ourselves down every time we miss the mark. We fail to acknowledge the little successes that we make. Have you made a new friend today? Has someone that's very close to you come to you with advice and you gave them the advice that actually saved their life or saved their marriage, saved their self-esteem? It doesn't necessarily have to be your own course that you've affected with big or small goals. If you can help someone else and change the course of their life, that's an accomplishment. Getting a new job is an accomplishment. Learning something new at work is an accomplishment. Even if you're home and you just learn a new software, acknowledge those little small strides, and then it sets the pace for you to appreciate the bigger ones when they come. Number 3, accept every compliment with a thank you. This shows appreciation. The domino effect of saying thank you to people. Think about it. If I know when I hold the door for someone and they walk through and don't say thank you, the next time around when I see that person, what do you think? I'm definitely less likely to hold the door for that person and might let it go right on them. Alright, so when you want to build your confidence, always say thank you, because people remember that. People don't mind holding the door for you and doing little things for you, and you show appreciation. So how you treat others is always a reflection of how you want to be treated. Also, number 4, find positive input, motivational clips, encouraging music, learning a new language, associate with supporting people, read books that inspire you. Find positive input in your lives, positive influence. Why would you want to hang around the person? For instance, you have women who may hang out with this friend. Every time she's around that friend, this girl has nothing but one sob story and let down after the other with her relationships. Why would you want to associate with a woman like that? Because most likely, in most cases, if you have a good relationship with your significant other, this person will try to put poison into your relationship by telling you negative things about your boyfriend or whoever your partner is. And also, they may even do things deliberately to sabotage it. Same thing with career-wise. You want to associate with positive people, because people that are going places, it's infectious. It gets to you. You become more motivated, and in a positive way, a positive, healthy way of competing, you start to make bigger strides and start to plan more. And also, when you get into jams and things that emotionally hurt you, positive people can always give you the proper amount of reinforcement to pick you back up and get you back on track. So definitely surround yourself with positive people. Number 5. Acknowledge your flaws and fears. Once again, 5, acknowledge your flaws and fears. The worst thing you could do is to go through life and pretend that this fear doesn't exist or that this flaw doesn't exist. It's, for instance, if you're an alcoholic, as long as you don't admit it, the problem will continue. If you're an abusive husband, as long as you don't acknowledge it, the problem will continue. So if you're someone that's afraid of heights and you want to be an airline pilot, guess what? You have to acknowledge that, right? You have to acknowledge your flaws. If you want to be a great speaker and you have a fear of crowds, you can't tell yourself, I have no fear of crowds. You have to acknowledge that so that you can take the necessary steps to overcome that fear or flaw. Number 6, talk about your imperfections and fears to positive people. This ties in with number 4. Talk about your imperfections and fears to positive people. So that means those times when you have you're feeling most fearful, or those times when you doubt yourself in a relationship, for instance. I'll use that as another example. It could be at work. You can be afraid or doubtful that you're going to live up to your boss's expectations. It's good to talk to someone who's either higher in the company that started where you are, and they can give you the feedback of what they did to overcome that, or someone in your personal life who may have gone through the same thing that can tell you, hey man, or hey girl, this is what's great about you. Why don't you try to do this to get closer to your boss? You want to talk to positive people that are going to give you the right advice. Okay, number 7, reward yourself when you achieve a big or small goal. Once again, now this one also, it ties into number 2 when I talked about stop talking down to yourself, but you want to write this down again. Reward yourself when you achieve a big or small goal, meaning that if your goal was to before the year is out, go on vacation or go someplace you've never been, if that was your goal, once you achieve that trip, I believe you should always end the vacation, for instance, with a nice big dinner for yourself, or buying yourself something out from where you're going as a souvenir, as a reward for actually making that trip. Even if it's to train your child to talk, to get your little baby to say mama or dada, and you practice with the child. Once that child says mama, reward yourself. Go out, take the baby with you, do just something to show that you appreciate the fact that you've actually accomplished that. You got your child to say mama, either a new handbag, new shoes. It doesn't have to be something expensive. You can always reward yourself by just getting a new perfume or just making yourself up for that day and going out. But any accomplishment, big or small, that you make, reward yourself. 8, another way to build your self-esteem is to learn a new language. The human mind, they said, is built, or it's wired for every person with a normal IQ to learn and master 4 languages. But unfortunately, most of us Americans only know one language. And that's why when you encounter people from other countries, why it's uncomfortable when you're around them and they're around their native people, and they can just switch identities on you practically and speak another language right in front of you. Then they have to stop and explain to you what they were saying. It's great to learn a new language. This opens up a different world for you. This can also help you change your personality completely. Everyone who knows more than one language, speaks more than one language, has the opportunity for a dual personality. You can be this way today. I'll give you a good example. I'm learning Spanish. I know a lot of Spanish, actually. So I can be around the English crowd, English-speaking people, and have fun, but then I can also go out to... I have friends of so many different backgrounds, but it's great when I can go to one of my Mexican friends' houses, Puerto Rican or Dominican friends' houses, and I can actually join in with the family and speak and partake in the culture and not feel completely isolated where everyone has to handle me with kid gloves. They can actually speak freely around me, and you'd be surprised how much people take to you and are impressed by you, the fact that you took the time out to learn their language and their culture. So that's another way to build your self-esteem. I know going on a job interview, just the fact that you can speak more languages than the next person, you feel more confident because you can tell the employer, hey, I know this language. I can speak Japanese. I can speak English. I can speak Mandarin. Just that alone gives you a competitive edge in the global market. So that's a great way to build your self-esteem. Number 9, acknowledge and thank those who've helped you along the way. That's very important, to thank people who've helped you along the way, because it shows gratitude, and you'll never know when you may need those people again. And they also say no one man is an island, or one woman is an island. Always thank those people who help you to get to where you are. it comes back to you. I mean, you may be a success now, but never forget that, because you never know when you may need those people again. I'll give you a good example. You could someone else can give you a reference, right, for a job, another job, and you get a great job off of that reference, and you forget to tell that person thank you or send them a thank you card. Let's say you lose that job, right? Now you've got to go and contact this person again for a reference. If you never said thank you or appreciated them, what do you think is going to happen this time around? You guessed it. He may not give you a reference. Right? So always acknowledge and thank those who have helped you along the way. And my mistake, people, this was 15 tips to build your self-esteem. Not 10, 15. I added 5 more here. Okay, so moving right along to number 10. Speak, look, and stand positively. If you look at body language, your body language speaks volumes about your self-confidence and how people would perceive you. If you walk all hunched over, if you speak very softly and very meekly, and if you just overall don't look very confident, you fail to make eye contact, you fail to make firm handshakes, this also will make people treat you less than or not take your opinion serious. You notice sometimes you'll be in a circle and you'll speak and people won't even acknowledge what you said. They'll talk right over you and just listen to the next person, and you feel left out. But if you just practice that, the next time you go into a room full of people, even at work, if you're the shyest person at work, the next day come in and say good morning loud to everyone. Give a personal good morning to each person. A firm, nice hello, John. Hello, Mary. Hello, Sue. How are you today? Right there, you're taking control of the room. The whole room now starts to look at you as if you're in charge. And you can be the lowest person on the totem pole. And your whole demeanor, the way you stand, it's good. I like to stand with both hands behind my back and walk. I forgot what they call that position. Or I'll put my both hands in front of me and cross one over the other. The way a lot of Masons pose. But I like to stand, I like to walk and show, just exude confidence. Number 11, another excellent way to build your self-esteem is to get in shape. A lot of people keep putting off getting in shape. They don't want to go through the effort. But how many times have you, I know as a man, when I see in the summertime comes around or spring and I see a guy walking around with a shirt, and it doesn't matter if it's long or short sleeve, if it's tight or loose fitting, you can just see this guy's muscles through the shirt, and you can see the attention he gets from women. Right away, for some reason, this guy just takes control of the room, and with little to no effort. People look at him different because why? His body screams discipline. His body tells everyone else, this is what you should be doing. This is what I throughout my day, I make sure I have time to do this. I'm serious about looking good. It applies for a woman too. I know when I see a woman jogging, it's a different way you approach a woman that you see in shape jogging and exercising. It tells you right away you won't just approach a woman like that if you know you're not on your A game. A woman like that, her body language, her posture, just her getting in shape and her physique says, and even if that's not what she's looking for, even if she doesn't want someone that looks like the equivalent to her, the male version or female version of her, just off that alone, the visual impression is bring your A game when you speak to me, when you're in shape. So that's a great way to build your own self-esteem. Number 12, buy a new wardrobe. We always talk about building inner beauty and inner confidence, and it must come from within, but I believe it's vice versa. And I believe it works both ways. Sometimes when you're feeling your most low, you can put on an outfit that changes your that totally shifts the inside to positive. So if you want to build your self-esteem, if you're the type that's usually wearing sneakers and all of that and dressing kind of bummy, buy yourself a nice dress shirt. Buy yourself a suit. Or if you're a woman, buy yourself some business attire. Or buy yourself a sexy outfit. Especially once you start getting in shape. Buy something that you normally wouldn't buy. Or just step it up a bit. Put some money aside and maybe spend a little something on that Armani outfit. But take some risks with your fashion. Buy a certain outfit that will definitely tell you that, hey, I'm a success. Because what's on the outside, when you look in the mirror and you see that, it affects you. And you're going to go out in the world with that confidence that, hey, damn it, I know I look good. I know this is a badass dress I'm wearing. I know this is top of the line suit. I know I look like $1 million today. Makes a big difference buying a new wardrobe. 13, fake it until you make it. I'll explain that, saying fake it until you make it means if you're not a millionaire and you want to be a millionaire, you got to pretend that you're one for the meantime until you get there, right? It's like what the Bible says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. So it's like, or also the Bible says, I speak it before I see it. Those are indications that right now you can mold the future by what you do right now. Even if you just make up your mind that, hey, I am the most confident man in the world, and even if your self-esteem is low, but you exude that, you fake it. How could you fake it? I'll give you a good example. Jackie Gleason from The Honeymooners, he wanted to be in Hollywood. He was a heavy set person, so he naturally looked older. What did he do? He went to all the Hollywood industry parties. This is in the golden days of Hollywood, the golden era, maybe like the 50s or so. He was underage, but of course you can fake IDs back then. But he would go in and hang out with the stars and wore a suit all the time and stood in a corner, maybe bought himself a drink and just stood there and sipped that drink all night. Eventually, someone wanted to know, who is this guy? I always see this guy at all the industry parties. He must be someone important. You see, and that's what cracked the door open for him to get his foot in Hollywood. He faked it until he made it, right? I can tell you, I saw Puff Daddy when he was 18 years old at a concert he helped put together in Harlem. He was a teenager. Puff Daddy, he called himself Sean Combs, his original name, came out at the end of the concert with a suitcase and a suit on and a briefcase. And of course, a lot of the adults in the crowd laughed. Look at this scrawny kid with the briefcase and the suit on, and they laughed at him. They said, "Wow, he takes himself very serious." I wouldn't say he was a nobody then, but he was not the wealthy powerhouse that he is now. But he faked it until he made it. Number 14, have standards. If you want to build your self-esteem, have standards. I'll give you a perfect example. You have some women that say, I want this kind of guy and this is what I want, but yet they'll meet a guy and allow a guy to out on the first date, seduce them, sleep with them, even when they know in their heart they don't want to do that because they don't want to ruin the guy's impression of them. Sleep with this guy, allow him they won't hear from the guy for days. The guy will call them again, act like he's interested, do the same thing to her again. And then what happens to this woman if she knows she wanted a long-term commitment? Her self-esteem dies every time. Because why? She's playing by someone. She has no standards. See, you have to have standards. Your standard is like the movie Think Like a Woman, Act Like a Man. Think Like a Man, Act Like a Woman. What you can have standards, meaning that, okay, you're not sleeping with me until I know this about you. You're not sleeping with me until we've really known each other X amount of days so I can really know what you're about and you can know what I'm about. You have to have standards. Another good example is, I know people who come to work and allow their boss to talk to them any kind of way. Hey, Greg, get your ass in here and whatever. And what do you think that says when people see the boss talk to someone like that? What do you think all the other supervisors and the co-workers do? They go, oh, that's the person I can talk any way to. And they'll do the same thing. Have standards. Say, excuse me, sir or madam, please don't talk to me that way. I would never talk to you that way. I wouldn't speak to anyone that way. Just please, I feel more comfortable if you address me without the foul language. Right there, you're setting a standard of how you want to be treated. Right there, you are doing that. Excuse me. Okay, number 15. Last, get out of your comfort zone. Everyone nowadays wants to be a mogul, a famous, or a social butterfly. It's not going to happen if you're sitting at home on the computer all night. It's not going to happen if you're watching TV all day. It's not going to happen if you're just hanging out with your girlfriends and just gossiping. The only way it's going to happen is to get out of your comfort zone. I'll give you a good example. What I did, how I got to get photography gigs in the entertainment industry is, I didn't just sit home emailing companies, hey, I'm a photographer, this, then. No, I got off of my ass. I went to industry parties. If I knew a celebrity was coming to town and they were throwing their birthday party at a club, I would come, pay that with a little money, whatever. Sometimes I would get a bottle just so I can get in the VIP section and look important. Another thing I would do is I would actually call the clubs ahead of time and ask them, could I bring my equipment? I wanted to film it for my website. And they would, most of the time they say, yeah, they don't have a problem with that. Just get the name of someone that works there. And that's what I did. So what I would do is get the name. I would go down there with my camera. So I'm coming in the door filming, and right away people think, okay, who's this guy who has permission to bring in this heavy equipment and film? And people start coming up to you. They want to know who you are. You can give out your business cards, and I can promise you, you do that enough, people are going to call you. So this is the guy I met at Timberland's birthday party. Let me invite him out for this Alicia Keys event that's coming up. I know his work, or I've seen him, so I know he's reliable. It makes a big difference. Get out of your comfort zone. Another good example is, a lot of women say they want a great man. Right? They say they want a good man, but it doesn't happen sitting at home. A lot of times, I hate to say it, these internet dating sites, they're full of sharks. You have some men that look for women that they know are desperate to get married, and they tell them what they want to hear, and then after they sleep with them, they're done with these women. So you got to the best thing to do is get out of your comfort zone. Get out to concerts, go out to dinner, go out to poetry readings, go out to art exhibits, go to the beach, just go out to bars, go out to nightclubs, go to church. Get out there and socialize and meet people. It's the best way to network. It's the best way to gain popularity, if that's what your goal is, or to accomplish anything, is to get out of your comfort zone. So I'm going to run down the 15 tips to build your self-esteem or improve your self-esteem. Once again, number 1, stop comparing yourself to other people. Number 2, stop talking down to yourself or putting yourself down. Use self-appreciation. 3, accept every compliment with a thank you. 4, find positive input in your life through positive people or positive things to do, music, books, whatever. 5, acknowledge your flaws and fears. 6, talk about your imperfections and fears to positive people. 7, reward yourself when you achieve a goal, big or small. 8, learn a new language. 9, acknowledge and thank those who have helped you along the way. 10, speak, look, and stand positively or confidently. 11, get in shape. 12, buy a new wardrobe. 13, fake it until you make it. 14, have standards. 15, get out of your comfort zone. Once again, this is Mitch Law. You can find me on Twitter, Mitch Holmes 3, and that's the Roman numeral 3. That's the III. I'm also on LinkedIn. LinkedIn, I believe, should be my email, mrockholmes@gmail.com, or it might be Mitch Holmes 3 also on LinkedIn. Okay, and also Facebook is Mitchell Holmes 3. Signing off. Bye.